Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for joining us. This is Chris's team reveal. So
Hello.
off you go, Chris. Take it away. Tell everyone. Hey, actually, tell everyone where we can find them. They can find us on the socials, Chris.
You can find us at SC Insider 100 on Twitter, on Facebook, and on what other platforms?
Twitch when we're there,
Twitch, I guess. And obviously you can search for us as well on YouTube. Search for Supercoach Insider. Boom. What up?
What up? Enjoy. Please do like, subscribe. We nearly hit 1,000 likes. Chris, we might as well tell everyone.
Yes. It's so good. It's so damn good.
The was it a hakushu?
Hakushu.
Hakushu. It's a Japanese single malt whiskey.
You gotta say it directly.
Oh, mate, we're just chilling. We're here actually waiting for Corey from SC Elites. We're going to do our top 10 reveal, basically, or top 8, I think, because he wants to minimize the damage.
A little bit, yes, and have some honourable mentions, but it'll be fun. And look, I suppose that all comes back to my selections in my team. I'm actually throwing up between two structures right now, and how it works out really is anybody's guess at this point. But this is how I landed as of today, and I'm pretty happy with it. So it'll all depend. The only thing that I'm really weighing up is, do I want to go a little bit heavier with mid prices, or do I want to invest in more top-end talent? And this is the one that has the more top-end talent, but only has essentially 12 premiums, or what I would like to call 12 premiums, as opposed to my other side, which has 13 and one more mid-pricer as well. So a little bit more safety in terms of less reliance on rookies on field, but I do feel like there's a few rookies out there that are going to pay dividends coming forward. So from the back line, obviously, we've got Jaden Short. So the one big omission straight up in this side is I don't have any Jake Lloyd.
Seagull.
Yeah. So
jumped off. Why?
Well, just the 50K. So, I mean, I just don't think it's really value at this point with Jake Lloyd. Like, I could go, short up to Jake Lloyd, and that's fine. But I do like the value that short presents. Way I'm looking at how Sydney's structured up at the moment, I don't think he's necessarily going to drop all that much, but I don't think he's going to be that far in front of Jaden Short that it's going to be worth it. I do see Jaden Short as someone that can increase his average by between 5 to 10 points per game. And so to me, he's like almost a must-have. This is spoiling a little bit, but I personally feel like Whitfield could be the number one defender this year, so I think he's kind of a must-have.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Are you fucking kidding me? He hasn't actually seen this yet, everyone, but it's backwards for you. Little sneak peek. Well, I actually did this before you got here. Wow.
So there's that. So I don't think you can't not go Whitfield, but the only way that I can get up to Lloyd from my team is to trade out Short. I just think there's too much value there presented. So we'll see how we go into round one. I may opt to go that way. I suppose I'm looking for value forward and in defence because the midfield is so expensive and the ruck line. So Sicily comes in there at D3 with Hewitt at D4, and then the rookies start. So this is where you're sort of saving that little bit of extra money. I think Sicily can average well, but I don't think he's going to be, say, 2019 Sicily, or when was the last time you averaged over 105, I think. I don't think he's going to be that good, but I think he might be around the mark. I think Hewitt can average 105-ish. So personally, I'm all in on the Hewitt train, and that's why I'm there with that. As for everything else, pretty much let's go the midfield. This is where obviously the cream comes through. I've gone with the big three, and I think that if you're looking at any other three premium midfielders, you're probably not doing it right, in my opinion, at this point.
Did you see my berry and cream joke at?
I did. I enjoyed
on Twitter.
It a lot.
On Twitter, if you haven't seen it, go ahead check it out. Twitter, everyone.
But yeah, I think these three guys are the guys that are going to be vying for the number one Supercoacher of 2022. It'll come from these three, in my opinion: Steele, McRae, and Tuke Miller. They both look like they haven't missed a beat in the off-season. They're both absolutely consistent. And I think between Steele and Tuke, they've also got upside as well there. So I'm locking those three in this team. The one that goes in my other team, unfortunately, is Tuke. So that's the one that makes way to add, say, a Patrick Cripps in there instead. Neil, I think, is a no-brainer at his price. Raul is a very recent addition. That could be recency bias, and he could be one to make way, but I previously had Caldwell in that position as a mid-pricer, and I've moved him up to Raul and found the extra cash to do so.
Isn't that like a Disney song? Make way, make way. Is it Moana?
It's one of those Disney songs.
It's all you need.
They're all in the background all the time.
Yeah, it's Moana.
All the time. Rookies, I think the easily best two rookies so far for the preseason is Nick Dacos and Josh Ward. I think by a long shot. I like Horn Francis, but I prefer him off the bench because I think that there's going to be games where he's going to be fairly subpar, especially in North's forward line. But he does have the added bonus of having CBAs, so he could keep his average relatively consistent. I still think he only probably averages about that 70, maybe 75 mark. But I think that's good enough, and at his price, there's not really much else. So we'll see how that goes. Currently, I've got Cooper Stevens in there. I thought he played very well on the weekend. Not sure if he lines up round one, though, unfortunately.
Looks a good size, and at least Menegola, I think, still coming back from knee stuff, so
yeah,
kind of helps.
If he doesn't play, I'm actually looking to start Elijah Hollins there, even if he doesn't get picked round one, which I don't think he will be, and that's going to be as my loophole because I currently don't have a loophole anywhere else. So I'm happy to start, say, Elijah Hollins there as a mid-forward swing, can move forward, move back. It's going to be a little bit easier. Saligo, I think, is one that actually plays, and I'm not sure why there's been a little bit of a... I thought he played very well in his role.
Especially with Laird injured.
Laird's out 4 to 6. Yeah. I mean, there's space there, that's for sure. I'm not really sure why people aren't jumping on, but we'll see. Round one is obviously proof in the pudding. And the ruck line. So I've gone back and forth with my ruck line. I think it's probably everybody's.
Haven't we all? The ruck lines of Biatch Bruce is obviously suspended for a week. Why did he accept that? Surely you
challenge it.
You tackle 100. You tackle 100 kilo plus person, and you need to actually put them down with a little bit of force.
I 100% agree with you. So Grundy's obviously the lock, and then the second one there, and in both teams right now, I've got English at R2. For two reasons. First of all, I don't think he's going to be my R2 long term. I'm actually going to wait and see with my rucks. I like Gawn and I like Darcy, and I think that those two will probably battle it out for number 2. But I do see a situation where if I started Gawn, there could be times where I completely regret it. If I start Darcy, his body's a little bit shot, always. So I'm not really sure where I'll lean towards. So I want to give myself a bit of time to make that decision. English not only buys me time, but I personally think that he's got the potential to be a top 6 forward. So at worst case scenario, you can just swing him forward and then put in the ruck that you want. And he obviously provides you ruck cover as well. And I think he's probably the best ruck forward currently available in Supercoach.
So yeah, there's nothing worse than having a set and forget if it doesn't go right. And we've had the luxury of it all going perfectly. But if Gawn does have less ruck time throughout the season, maybe he's kind of capped with that ceiling. So it's like, well, if Darcy starts popping off, you could lose 5-10 points a game. Whereas at least English, if you put him forward, you then work out what that position is. Who's the highest averaging rucker? Rucker, motherfucker.
Wow, rucker.
But that way you can, so English there, maybe he'll be not, if he's not top 6 to 10, he'll be very close to it. I think he'll be very serviceable.
Yep.
And I think you'll actually gain more points by making sure you have the right ruck instead of being locked into something and losing 5-10 points a week.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Now, the forward line is something that I think's been my most consistent line the entire preseason. Dunkley and Butters pretty much haven't moved the entire preseason. Canelio, I think he should be probably the most picked player in Supercoach at this point. And then the last 3. So I really like Brody. I think he's actually got a potential to be a keeper. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if he gets the role of midfield, he's got the potential to be a top 6 forward. So
I was shaking my head as in you're an idiot, and yes, it does sound ridiculous.
Yes, thanks very much. But McGovern, I think is someone that can hit you an 80 average. I don't think he's going to be too amazing, but I think he can probably hit that 80 average or something similar. In that position, I could also go obviously Rayner or Gresham. I'm currently leaning towards McGovern, mainly because Rayner didn't really light the world up. And I think there's going to be games where Rayner's going to have 160. But I also think there's going to be games where Rayner's going to have 40. And I don't know if I'm ready for that. So we'll see how we go closer to the actual season. The one that's really changed is Cherry at F6, and that's obviously come in since the weekend. It's fairly well known now in Supercoach land that Cherry's pretty much taken over the number 1 mantle at the North Melbourne Kangaroos. And It's not by much, but it's enough that his scoring is going to be good enough at his price to be a valid selection on field. And I think that that's a very valid consideration. On the pine there, I've got McCartan because I can switch him with De Koning, which I think is a valuable addition. And I've got Hayes as well, which obviously can switch with Dixon in the ruck. So I've got a little bit of flexibility there. I really like this side. It's growing on me a lot more, but the difference between that and, say, the other mid-pricer side, I guess. So instead of Rao, like you get up to Cripps. Oh, sorry, I lie. Instead of Miller, I go to Cripps, and then instead of Rao, that goes down to Caldwell, and that enables me to add in Jake Lloyd into the back lineup. Basically, it's essentially meaning that I'm running 5 premium, depending on how you view Hewitt, defenders, and only 1 rookie on field, and that's the biggest difference in those sides. I also run Bruce. Which I still don't think is a bad thing because he's only going to miss the 1 game. But English moves to the forward line and then we'll probably obviously cover week 1 with the view of getting Bruce into that main ruck line moving forward. So that's the big difference between those 2 sides and what I'm currently throwing up.
Yep. Not only that, Saints play Friday night, so you could even... So what I'm considering is even putting Hayes... right, as an emergency on the ruck line, and if he actually scores you and somehow flukes an 80, then it's like perfect, wonderful, and then, Bruce doesn't actually play until Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock. You have time to then actually put Bruce on that R2 line because Hayes has actually basically done you a serviceable job for the week. Or you could use, say, no, you can't use Dixon, they play last. So yeah, that's another consideration. If you want to be flexible, it's a little bit anarchy. You kind of have to try and adjust your team on the fly, but... Yep. It is actually a strategy worthwhile. If Hayes from Saints actually gets a reasonable score, Bruce can then go onto your R2 line. You take that good score, and then from there on, you'll probably be one of the only people with Bruce killing it, hopefully.
That is true, yeah. Tell me what you think of the comments. Open to criticism, obviously. I'll probably just tell you to fuck off anyway. But this has been large work in progress, and yeah, it could obviously still change towards round 1, but... I think I was just blown away by Tuke Miller and Matty Rowell, and that's really shaped my latest side.
And do you know who they play first?
Hopefully it's Brisbane.
West Coast Eagles that have no fucking players available.
So they're just going to go nuts.
I actually messaged the group chat saying Rowell and Tuke are going to get 300 between them week 1.
Is Rowell on 240 and Miller's on 60? Or
no, I think it'll be Tuke pushing like the 160s or something.
You know what's was super impressive about Rowell's game is that so Matty Rowell comes in, and what we missed from Rowell, and especially in the last year, but before that, was his contested ball is his and one wood, and he just did not get that. That was what we didn't get last year. And obviously coming back from a big shoulder injury, he just wasn't able. And we noted that last year during the pods. That was back. He had 18 contested possessions. He hit 124 Supercoach, did not even have a scoreboard impact. And we know what happens when he kicks goals. His score just goes through the absolute roof. When
he kicks on his left, his right, he kicks goals. And not only that, he had teammates miss him twice. They kicked over. It was a bit Dewey, right? Stuart Dewey. And but they kicked over his head. Like, they butchered a kick to him at least twice that I saw, so he could have easily got a mark, got those stats, got those points, and then had a kick on. But no, the ball went over his head or went past him. So I think with the drier conditions as well, they look to him. He works pretty hard. He was working not as hard as Tuke. Tuke was absolutely... just watching him down into the back pocket, putting pressure on. And then all of a sudden he's literally 20 metres out from goal, getting a shot on goal. It's like, what the hell's going on? This guy's so good.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I'm not worried about point stealing or anything like that. We've seen with the Bulldogs, if you've got enough points, that's not going to be a thing at all. I'm right now, you'd be packing it if you're not starting Matty Rowell. I can tell you that. But based on the 2 preseason games, the one was it who'd they play? They play Brizzy, and who'd they play in their first practice game?
I can't remember.
It wasn't recorded, but he absolutely cleaned up in that game, and then he comes into the actual practice match and cleans up again. He's rolling into form, and if he knocks over a 120 that first week, I can guarantee you by week 3, people are going, "Wow, how do I get Matt Rowell?"
But it doesn't even look like he's going that well. But he's going 120s. So there's so much upside. And this is someone who went, what did he get, like a 160 or something in one of his first handful of games. That's crazy.
Yeah,
he is someone that could burn you 100%. It's kind of weird though, because Real really does throw out structure a little bit.
Yeah, he does. He's awkward price because I feel like there's two really good, well-priced mid-prices in both Berry and Caldwell, right? I feel like both of them are priced so well that it's hard to ignore them. My problem with Caldwell is roll, in that when he really, even though he got himself 111 last week, half of that was was it Merritt that went off the ground, or Parrish moved forward, Merritt went off the ground. They weren't playing their
Stringer is also not in that side, which is probably my big concern,
Dylan
because
Shield.
they're not going to take CBAs from those other big bulls, right? So I think it'll be Caldwell that loses some CBAs when Stringer comes back in, because where else are they going to take it from? Has to be him.
So for me, whilst I think that he's definitely going to make money, I think that's a no-brainer. I just don't think it's as solid bet as both Berry and Raul. Raul's guaranteed to be in that midfield setup, 100%. And by the way, sleeper in drafts, might I say Noah Anderson.
He's going 100 plus easy.
I think he shits in 100 this year.
Yeah, same.
105. And the only reason I say 105 is if he was a premier midfielder when they've already got Tuke and Raul there that are going to be cleaning up those points. So, interesting. But that's my team, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm sure you'll catch us on the next podcast where we go through the top 8 mids, top 6 forwards.
No, top 8 defenders.
I don't even know. Top stuff.
Top 8 defenders, forwards, top 10 mids, top 3 rucks with Corey. He's standing by. We're going to get him on the line. We'll catch you later, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.